The honourable member for Dartmouth Cole Harbour.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to rise in my place and speak for a few moments in support of this motion, and I thank my colleague for bringing it forward. I also want to thank the member from York South-Weston for his participation in this debate and some of the very interesting and valid points he made. And one of the things in particular he talked about that I thought was extremely persuasive was the cascading effect that this potential change will have on benefits that have been negotiated by Canadians that are recognized by Canadians in various other programs based on a retirement age of 65, and I think that's extremely important for the government to consider. I've been noting, of course, government members' response to concerns raised on this side, and they have suggested on most occasions that it is the opposition, it's the opposition, the official opposition, that is scaring seniors, that is raising these fears that this government, in fact, is going to do nothing of the kind. Do you know, it was the premier, it was the Prime Minister when he was hobnobbing with that august body in Switzerland, the World Economic Forum, where he pontificated about the significant social transformation that he was going to bring about to this country, and that the retirement income system in Canada was going to be a major part of that. You know, what's interesting is that the Prime Minister, leader of the Conservative Party, and none of the members opposite, talked about this just a few short months ago when we were running in the election. And none of them said to Canadians, including Canadian seniors, vote for us and we're going to bring about major social transformation in this country, which will include cutting pensions to senior citizens, whether it's now, whether it's in the future. It's all about cutting resources to seniors. Now, they didn't say anything about that, but here we are, less than a year later, and this government is starting to drop the hammer on seniors. So, rightly so, members of my constituents of mine are calling me and saying, "What's going on? We're concerned about this." The Prime Minister, members of the government benches are talking about changing the OAS, changing a system that is often keeping people from the food lines, from the bread lines, because of the fact that they have insufficient income, that they are living below the poverty line or very close to the poverty line. Seniors who, as a result of health concerns, as a result of being downsized, being outplaced, no longer have a job at the age of 62 or 63 and are trying to hang tough until 65, when they will get a bit of a return from the contribution they've made to society. Now we're being told that this government is proposing to make a change to that system without any details, without any discussion, without any consultation. And yeah, I say to you, Mr. Speaker, and I say to them, you've got a right to be concerned, because we don't know for sure what this government is going to do. So my responsibility as their MP, the people of Dartmouth Cole Harbour, and as my colleagues have been doing today and over the last couple of days of this week, is to get up and ask the government pertinent questions about why it is that they're heading in the direction. Because you know what? It doesn't matter when they say, oh, we're not going to touch the system now. We're not going to touch seniors now. It's going to be somewhere down the road. Well, a senior today, a senior tomorrow is still a senior. It's still an individual that is trying to make ends meet, Mr. Speaker, that has contributed to our society, to our country, have made sacrifices, have raised families, have made this country into what it is. It's those people that are being asked by this government to carry the burden. And frankly, I don't think that's right, and my colleagues agree with me. Let me talk about a couple of things that the government talks about, and I must say I'm shocked at the way that some commentators have jumped on the bandwagon to say that, well, you know, it's just not sustainable. You know, where the demographics are such, the population is aging, and we're just not going to be able to afford this. Mr. Speaker, they're talking about OAS that now makes up 2.7% of gross domestic product, a mere fraction of the total economic activity in this country. And the huge increase that they're talking about is going from 2.7 to 3.1 in the year 2031. That's the kind of impact it's going to have relative to the gross domestic product. And you know, some people, some commentators have been using the dollar figures without taking into consideration inflation, without taking into consideration the overall budget and the overall revenues of the government in 2031 in order to suggest that this is a burden that we cannot affect. But that's bogus. Economists have said, Mr. Speaker, that you need to make the comparisons on the basis of the percentage as it relates to the overall expenditures and the ability of this government to be able to pay its bills. It's the same thing as debt and deficit. It's reviewed by the rating agency on the basis of per capita. What is it that we're able to handle? Are we able, as an economy, to pay our debts? That's the equation, and that should be the equation here. And I say shame on those, Mr. Speaker, who are suggesting that we cannot afford to pay seniors the princely sum of $509 a month. Frankly, it's shocking. The OECD has indicated, Mr. Speaker, that the Organization for Economic and Development total public social expenditures on pensions as a percentage of GDP is estimated to be in Canada 4.7%. The equivalent average in other OECD countries is more than 7%. In some of the countries that, you know, it's been suggested that look what's happening in Europe, look what's happening in the United States, you know, the sky is falling, and there's no question that some of those countries have been experiencing some significant economic pressures as a result of problems in the financial sector, Mr. Speaker. But in some of those countries, we're looking at a comparison where now the equivalent average or the social expenditure on pensions as a percentage of GDP in Canada is 4.7%. Some of these other countries, like Italy, Germany, Poland, it's more like 12, 11, and in some cases as high as 14%, Mr. Speaker. So let's make the comparisons relevant. Let's not be scaring people. You know, let's actually recognize what it is that we're being faced with. And the other thing is about the fact that none of this was indicated to Canadians that this change was going to be coming down the pipe on May the 2nd. The fact that nobody talked about there being a democratic crisis, this government didn't anyway, back on May the 2nd, and that they were going to need to do that. I understand that there are things that need to be done, Mr. Speaker, in order to make sure that we pay our bills. And I say that we make sure that profitable corporations in this country start paying their fair share. We recognize that the money that we're proposing to spend on F-35s, Mr. Speaker, can better be spent on seniors. That the money we're going to spend, the billions of dollars to lock more Canadians up in prisons, Mr. Speaker, can be better spent looking after seniors today, tomorrow, and into the future. That's the kind of choice that this party, that this opposition is making. It's time that the government recognize that they have a commitment to seniors, and they better start living up to it.